Good morning. This is Melody Brooke. You're listening to Oh Wow, This Changes Everything. This morning we have Lynn Fabia. She is a speaker and an author of a book called The Martial Art of Life, subtitled The Art of Intentional Living. And we're going to be talking about why the divorce rate is climbing. And that's why I played that song from Maylee Thomas. She's a local blues singer here. We all want the real thing that's going to be a lifetime guarantee, don't we, Lynn?
Yes, we do.
Doesn't always work out that way, does it?
It doesn't. And divorce rates are more prevalent now than before because women aren't following tradition of what their mothers did and what their grandmothers did. And there's a tendency for people to adhere to public opinion. And society has put such a stigma on divorce. And they make you feel like you're a failure if you have a divorce in your life.
Right.
And I'm so glad that people and women have become strong enough not to follow that trend and to follow, again, tradition. Tradition should be changed. Now, times have changed, and now it's more admirable, it's fashionable, it's accepted for women to be creators of their life. They're much more independent. So this has changed the structure of relationships. Women wanted to be in control and in charge of their life, and it created an imbalance for men. They were used to a certain pattern where they were the caretakers, and the women were home taking care of the children, and that's what they did. They were the nurturers. So it was more of a patriarch society where they were in control, but it wasn't balanced.
No, it wasn't balanced for anyone, not for the men or the women.
No, and if we had a matriarch society, that wouldn't be balanced either.
Right. We need to have some kind of a balance here where, and it's like, it seems like the feminists sort of miss the point a lot of times when they don't realize that it was an inequality for all of us.
That's correct. I'm not a feminist, but I do believe in being an equalist.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference. I don't mind a man opening the door for me. I don't mind.
It's nice, yeah.
Gentlemen around me. It doesn't take away from that, but I don't believe that you should. There's a resistance I feel with feminists that an equalist doesn't have.
Right.
I think it's more of an imbalance to me.
Yes, I agree.
But I don't believe that control belongs in any area of your life, whether it's a relationship or in business. There's no reason, and it doesn't fit in life because it automatically creates an imbalance because there's this restriction of movement, and a person that wants to grow and create cannot be under someone's control. It's like you take a flower and you put a glass over it. It restricts movement, and it's not natural.
Right.
People, we're all here on this earth to not only survive, but to create. Because if you're not creating, the other aspect, the other side to that is you're living in fear. So many women live in fear, and we're afraid to go on their own and to make a difference. Women have, since they started going out into the work world, the business, they have made a tremendous difference in this world as far as creativity.
Well, why do you think it is that people have such a hard time finding that balance?
Because of how they were raised, maybe. They didn't get out of that box. Mm-hmm. They just followed, again, tradition. And fear, a lot of it is fear. And it took whoever it was, the first woman, to get out there and started doing things. And then women started to follow after that. Then you could see the rise of women in the work world as creators. And it's much better for the world. It's much better balanced for the world, this growth, this personal power.
So is this part of your story? I mean, do you have a divorce history?
Yes, I've only been married once, and yes, I did, because I knew I didn't have enough time. I didn't put enough time in getting to know the person, and most people don't.
Right.
Most people go in right away. They feel a physical attraction, and they think, "Oh, this will take care of everything."
Yeah, I think they fall in love with the idea of who the other person is rather than really who that other person is. They have a fantasy of who that person is.
Yes, that perception that's not correct until they find out what that person's like in their element. So a good rule of thumb is wait 90 days before you even want to become serious. Find out what they're like in their element. Find out what makes them impatient. Find out what makes them tick. Find out these things, because you don't want to find out later.
Right.
And we have so many layers to us: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. If you only do it from one aspect, you're shortchanging yourself right from the beginning. And so people don't give themselves enough time to find out what this other person is like. And I know that nowadays there's a lot of long-distance relationships. And
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it.
It's very challenging, and really it's not enough, because even with Skype, and they get to see each other, still they're only seeing each other in one area when they're getting ready to speak. But they don't see them, what they're like, what their mood swings are like, and these other areas. You have to make the time to spend days, weeks, and months with
right.
the person.
I always say that dating is really about gathering information. It's about an opportunity to find out more about that person. It's not, and people get the idea that, well, it's, you start dating and you should be with that person right then. You made a commitment.
No.
Well, no. It's really about gathering information about that person and not getting too involved too soon.
That's exactly my feelings. Exactly, Melody, and that's why one of the reasons, and there's many reasons why divorce is more prevalent now, is because we don't take that time to find out who that person is. We think it's you date, you're already thinking of marriage, and children, and you didn't even get to know the person. So many people after the divorce are saying, I really didn't know them because I didn't make the time to know them. And this is an important decision.
And, I think that a lot of times, not getting to know them is part of the problem, but also we have defenses that go up because of whatever our history is that often prevent us from getting really close, which I think is a lot of why we end up getting divorced, is because we end up being unable to make that deep, intimate connection. Don't you think?
That's right. And also, we have to know what we're looking for, and we have to know who we are. We have to have a good idea of who we are and what we're going to, what traits we're looking for. We have to be on a higher, also, I would say higher vibration, a mindset, to attract somebody that's also at that level, instead of going into a relationship because you feel lonely,
or just so needy, that you don't have your own life is not complete, so you're looking for somebody else to fill something rather than being
right.
And when that happens,
we have to look at that.
Then you've got that imbalance again. You're
right away. So you go from you're already imbalanced, and then you go into an imbalanced relationship, because if you're lonely and you're needy and you feel like you have to be with somebody just so that you can say you're in a relationship, and people do that, then they attract another lonely person that doesn't have that sense of fulfillment, first of all, in their life. And so they attract another lonely person, and now you have two lonely people.
Right. And without any clue, really, about how to connect.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't have a clue.